Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I'll be discussing a critical analysis of the movie called Platoon 1986, which is about the Vietnam War. Well, I found this movie quite interesting and distinct as the visual director of this movie, Oliver Stone, he wrote the screenplay which based upon his own experience as an American soldier who actually witnessed the hardship in the Vietnam War. He also set out the stage for a critical reflections on the horror of war, violations, illegal killings, as well as the breach of human rights. His ideas are shadowed by the reality, corruptions, and rage of the war. The underlying message behind the scene of Platoon is basically about the loss of innocent people, the force of war, and the disillusionment of moral principles. Stone dropped out the college and volunteered to fight in the Vietnam War. After joining the military, he then discovered that the romantic side of the war that he had in his mind was way too different from the reality. He had volunteered to war thinking that it was the right thing to do. It could be the thing that he could be proud of, but really it turned out to be the worst decision ever. What I really like about this movie is that Platoon is not the type of movie that hides the bad sides of war. It actually portrays soldiers at their best as well as at their worst. After watching this movie, it's made me feel what it actually must be like to fight in the battlefield like that. The tension, the heat, people being exhausted, the pressure, and the untrustworthiness that's being created not only from the outside enemy, but also their own people themselves. When someone mentions the word war, I'm sure that it will directly leave a negative feelings on individuals. To me, war is an absence of reasons. Why I'm saying that? Because one can never find enough reason to use as a justification to destroy each other. From the Americans' perspective, they believe that Vietnam War was a preventive war because it was a war of discretion in which America has decided to get involved with its aim to prevent an expansion of communist influence in Southeast Asia, which clearly was unacceptable to America. They further claimed that Vietnam War was a response rather than aggression. So seeing this event that happened during the war, one can come to the conclusion that there was a rampant corruption during war. During the time when the laws of war were being ignored, killing innocent people has become a norm associated with this war. People were killing each other without feeling guilty. There's no real justice for those poor people who were being killed. Platoon forced us to see the most brutal aspect of the war. One theme that stood out was the breach of human rights. The rape and sexual violence of Vietnamese women and young children by the American soldier during the Vietnam War has become a practice and integral part of this warfare. However, incidents and consequences of rape in Vietnam has been extremely overlooked and ignored. Finally, the effects of war on soldiers often involve emotional and psychological issues, as well as obvious physical injuries that result from combat. Many soldiers suffering from a condition called post-traumatic stress disorder or PTSD. PTSD is the result from the severe trauma. Soldiers experiencing this condition often have flashbacks in which they relive moments of terror. This movie conveyed a true message about psychological ramifications which result from the effects of war. The soldiers will confront their fears and personal demons through their experiences, one that is suffused with perpetual agonies and collapse, dehumanization, and the monstrosity of wars by those young soldiers who return home and faced with the emptiness and loss.